Hello everyone, how are you doing? I hope you guys are doing fine. So today we have to discuss a very significant topic, a very interesting topic actually. So if we look at the world's history, if we look at the history of the world itself, we can see that there have been many thinkers who actually thought about the world from a diverse range of perspectives, and they offered their ideas to us. And many of those ideas have actually gained so much popularity and have actually become so influential in our lives that the way in which we look at our everyday lives, we make decisions in our everyday lives, actually draw a lot from those ideas. There have been many such thinkers, and one such significant thinker is definitely Karl Marx. I'm very sure that almost all of you would have heard about Karl Marx and what we collectively call as Marxism, which is actually an umbrella term which we use to identify ideas proposed by Karl Marx. So what actually is Marxism, and why actually is Karl Marx so important to us students of literature? Let's think about all that. So first of all, let me take an anticipatory bail that this is not a very elaborate and intricate video about Marxism or the tenets of Marxism. This is not a critical video too. This is actually a video which is for beginners who are coming into the study of literature and literary theory, trying to explain the basic tenets of Marxism. So if you're looking for more elaborate and critical discussions, this is definitely not where you want to be. So I'm beginning with an introduction, or I'm going to explain Marxism in a nutshell to you. So first of all, if you want to understand Marxism in the very first place, you have to understand a very significant concept, which is that of capitalism. So what actually is capitalism? Just look around and you will understand. If you look around, you can see that most of the businesses these days are privately owned, or there are many private ventures happening around us which are not that controlled by the governments. The only liability of these private firms is actually to pay the taxes to the government. Other than that, they have the ownership of private resources, or they have the ownership of private property, and they invest in their businesses and they gain a lot of profit out of that. So there is a kind of a free market system which is prevalent out there. This kind of a setup where you have privately owned resources and privately owned properties, and you can invest into those and make profit out of that, without that much government interference, is called capitalism. So I hope this is very clear. So this kind of an economic setup, which was initially proposed by people like Adam Smith, is called capitalism. And Karl Marx was actually a staunch critic of the enterprise of capitalism. He thought that accumulation of wealth in one particular community, and where another community is deprived of all those privileges that the other community has, is actually a huge problem with capitalism. So he thought that there would always be two communities. One would be the bourgeoisie, who actually gain all the privileges that are offered by capitalism. Also the working class, who do not have access to all these privileges that are offered by capitalism. So there would be, if you look at your society, just observe the kinds of things that are happening around. You can see that there are many modes of production around you, and there are people who are in charge of these modes of production, and there are people who are just part of these modes of production. There are employees who are just part of these modes of production, who actually do not know what probably is the profit that comes out of this, or what is the final produce that comes out of this. These people, the working class, are actually a part in this chain of production. Most of the time, imagine that you work in a car factory. One particular worker would be working on a particular kind of equipment, and he would not be aware of probably to where his work is going on, or he just keeps making this part, and this goes into a huge system, and all the assembly is made elsewhere, and probably one part would be made in one country and it would be taken to another country and assembled. So in that manner, this worker is actually alienated from his work. He doesn't know what the end product of this work is. He just gets paid, he gets his labor, so that's all he's worried about. So there is a kind of alienation. This is one significant concept that Marx proposed, which is alienation from one's own work. Initially, in the economic system, it was not like this. People actually gave their life and soul into the work that they did. Imagine that it was a carpenter who was working. It depended on his skill and the love that he put into his work to produce something, and he could see an end product of his hard work and labor, and eventually probably even the smile on the face of the customer when that person sees this. So when you're part of a huge chain of the of production, this kind of a personal identification with the work that you do may not be possible, and there could be a lot of alienation from this work. This was one thing. And also another thing is that most of the time the produce or the profit that comes out of this kind of an economic system would accumulate to a particular kind of community who have the ownership of these resources or these enterprises, and the workers would only get a very minimal result of all these efforts that is put into production. So this kind of an unequal distribution of wealth is the very first problem that Karl Marx identified with this enterprise called capitalism. And moving on, there would always be a conflict between these two classes. There is the bourgeoisie. There are the bourgeoisie who actually gain all the privileges that are offered by this capitalist social setup, but there is the working class who get only nominal wages and who do not have all these privileges that the bourgeoisie have. So according to Marx, there would always be a kind of conflict between the working class and the bourgeoisie, and there would always be this desire in the working class to climb up the ladder of economy and move a bit in their social class. So class mobility, we can call it class mobility. There would always be this desire for class mobility. And also Karl Marx thought that everything actually revolves around economy. That is, it is called dialectical materialism. So if you look at the ideas of many other thinkers, you can see that they always thought that there is a spiritual realm, or there is a realm of ideas which is more superior than the material realm, all these material things and all these modes of production, the economy. So people who kept ideas or the thoughts or the spiritual things on a pedestal and looked down on these material things. But according to Karl Marx's idea, dialectical materialism, these material things, these modes of production, these economic things are actually at the base of everything. That they have so much of an influence on our everyday lives, on almost everything in the society, that they actually become a base structure of everything that happens in the world. So how do you explain that? Imagine that the entire society, or the way in which the entire society functions, the structure of the entire society is that of a house. So the economy or the modes of production or the economic interactions actually become the base structure of that house, the base of that house, and all the other things, whether it be arts, whether it be education, whether it be social relationships, all that are actually only the superstructure of that house, which actually depend on the economic structure or the base structure. So this is again a very significant idea which was proposed by Karl Marx, that everything is driven by modes of production or the economic forces. All the other things are actually superstructures of this base structure of economy. So if you look at some examples, you can understand it very easily. Now you look at your curriculum itself, or the way in which the curriculum is being designed these days. You can see that it is an outcome oriented curriculum. What kind of skills would the student learn, or how would these skills actually go into the production of something? That is actually what most of the subjects are actually thinking about when they are designing a curriculum. So this is again a result of capitalism, I would say. How would this kind of an education contribute towards the modes of production? That's the basic kind of thought that is going into even education. So even in the case of education, where it should be ideally something which should be value oriented, even in the case of education, you can see that the base structure of economic production is actually having a very great influence. So that is about base structure and superstructure. And just look at some of your basic everyday happenings. Probably the way in which people are treated even. It will tell you that the economic structure plays a very significant role. Imagine that you entering a shop in a very tattered and worn out cloth. The way in which that salesperson would treat you would be very different from the way if you enter into a shop with in a really huge luxury car, wearing really amazing clothes and all. So even the relationship between that salesperson and you, the way in which he treats you, is actually a result of your economic capability. So human relationships, which can be seen as a superstructure, are actually a result of the base structure of economy. So I hope that makes it very clear. So we understood about capitalism, and we understood that there is something called the two classes, the working class and the bourgeoisie. The bourgeoisie are the ones who get the profit or get the privileges of the capitalist enterprise, and the working class are the ones who are just a part of the chain of modes of production. And then there is always this conflict between these two classes, and there is also the desire for class mobility to move upward in this ladder of economy to gain more access to modes of production. And then we understood that in this chain of production, in this new capitalist system, there is a kind of alienation that the working class feels with the work that they do. They do not personally identify with the work they do, but rather they just feel a part of some very complicated system. Okay, and then we moved on to this idea of base structure and superstructure, where we understood that everything is actually determined by material forces or economic forces. All other things, the arts or education or human relationships, are only superstructures of this economic base structure. And we also looked at dialectical materialism, which gives more importance to these material things, these economic aspects of the society, and does not keep ideas or spiritual ideas or ideas beyond material things on a high pedestal. So these are some basic tenets of Marxism. We have a lot more to discuss, but as an initial introductory video, we can conclude with this. I hope these are clear. If you have any doubts, you can post them in the comments. But I'm hoping that I have made it as simple as possible, that you guys would have understood it already. So even if you have not, you can always ask questions in the comments. So thank you for listening, guys. So just think of your life from a Marxian perspective from now on for a couple of days, and you will understand it really well. The kind of things that you do, the kind of things that you learn, the kind of interactions that you have with people. Is there any influence of the economic base structure working there? Think of that and you will understand it very clearly. So the Marxian perspective is very significant for us students of literature. When we read works of literature, we can look at things from a Marxian perspective and have a really wonderful reading of those. So for the time being, I'll conclude. There is a lot more of things to discuss when it comes to Marxism, but we hope that we'll do that in the coming classes. So for the time being, thank you for listening, guys. Take care.